3:30, day's pretty much over. Got to head back to the home office and get to work over there. You know that feeling when you don't know what to do next? I feel like I find myself in this predicament as a new creator, somebody that's trying to create. For me in particular, it has more to do with a content creation journey than it has to do with my particular business. What am I saying? Who am I trying to help? What should I do next? To this point, my plans for content creation have been somewhat nebulous. Normally I wake up in the morning, I have the best of intentions to film some content, and then, the day hits me. I'm busy, work gets in the way, I slay the dragons of the day's work, and sometimes I win and sometimes they win, but at the end of the day, the busy day, I haven't filmed or generated a single piece of content to put out about my entrepreneurial journey, the business stuff that I do. So this is how it is most days. I do create some content, but it's not nearly enough. It's more sporadic. And it gets generated when I feel like it, when I have the motivation to put something out, when that motivation is so high that it basically overcomes my fear of doing it wrong or saying the wrong thing or putting these ideas out. So I'm not sure if anyone else feels like this. I don't know. Does this sound familiar when you start something new? So today, I think I'm going to try to change that. I think that what I need is a plan or a formula, but not one, made by somebody else. Maybe somebody that's done this exact thing before, although those might work fine. I think I need one of my own, one that works for me or that has worked for me in the past. One that really doesn't require inspiration, but just a simple following of steps that make it easy to do the thing that I want to do to create. Most creators are not in my shoes. Of course, everyone is unique, but I run a successful construction business and I have a young family. And in the last couple of years, I've taken up running as a way to stay fit. So my life is like a full-time gig. I'm super busy all the time. I almost have no time. So how can I make this work? The one thing I've learned about creating and running my business is that I feel more confident and certain when I've taken time to sit down and think through how I want to maneuver through the future. Without a plan, I feel lost. Like, what do I do next? Of course, I don't plan for everything. If I was planning full time, then I wouldn't have time for the spontaneous fires that invariably come up. And also, I wouldn't do anything if I was always planning. And this is an important point because there's a balance that you have to strike between planning and doing. And this balance is personal to everyone. What I don't want to do is I don't want to get stuck in this perpetual planning. So how do I plan? And how can I apply my formula or this formula to a new endeavor like my content creation? I've come up with 6 steps that I think will help me realize this goal. The first step is to set a goal. If there's no end in mind, then I'm not really sure where I need to aim. I'm starting with a particular goal of gaining notoriety in the business space, not for the sake of notoriety itself, but as a vehicle for future business endeavors and opportunities, maybe with other entrepreneurs. The further out that you plan, the more likely your plan will deviate from your final goal. So I'm going to say 1 year. This is really why I can't follow someone else's formula, because their goals and timelines are totally different from mine. Maybe their circumstance allows them to write scripts for 10 hours a week. I'd be lucky if I could get 1 or 2 hours a week. So the goal, it could be big, it could be small, it could be outlandish, it could surpass your wildest dreams, but you need to start with the end and work backwards. The second step is to create steps. I want to break down the goal and sub-goals into steps. For my business, it might be something like over the next month, I have to prepare and send 10 proposals. Or for my content, it can be something like creating 2 videos a month. The steps will need to be further broken down into subtasks and eventually down into like a daily routine. And so that's the next step, is to take action and create a routine. Notice I said routine because to me, the steps, the tasks are meant to be completed on an interval type basis. Maybe not every day, but at a certain interval. It could be every day, or it could be every other day, or it might be every third day of the week, it might be every third day of the month. I'm creating this routine in order to build the habits that I need in order to do the steps to achieve the goals. For me, it has to become a habit to reduce the friction. In the beginning, this will be forced for sure, but over time, I tend to get used to routines. I think like all of us do. The fourth step would be to evaluate progress. Once I've iterated through some of these smaller tasks and goals, it's important for me to evaluate whether my plan is working or if it needs to be adjusted. Now, I need to give my plan some time to take hold to see if it is working, but it is important for me to monitor the progress so that I can know if I need to pivot or not. The next step would be to make adjustments. After some time, you'll get a sense for what's working and what's not. So I wouldn't give up on the overall end goal, but make adjustments to the process and to the steps. This isn't about chasing shiny objects. It's more about pivoting in the direction to reach the end goal. Quick side note here, don't be discouraged if goals change. Life happens, priorities change. Ultimately, if your why of the goal is strong enough or big enough, it will persist. And the last thing that I'm gonna try to do is to write it all down. Without a written plan, these ideas of the future successful you, they really only live in your head, like as dreams, right? You think about them and you dream about them. But I don't want to be a dreamer. I want to be a doer. And how can I know where I'm going if I don't know where I've come from, where I've been? But you want a reference point. You want to go back and say, wow, I can't believe 1 year ago, 3 years, 5 years ago, I was here on my journey. It serves as a reminder of your journey. And for me personally, it's put things into perspective and it shows me how far I've come, especially when things are getting tough, if they get hard. So to recap, set your particular goal. Next, create the steps to achieve said goal. Then create a routine around those steps and take action. After that, you want to evaluate your progress and make adjustments. Finally, you don't have to make the plan long and drawn out or complicated, but it needs to be written down. Obviously, the more work that you put into the plan, the more you'll get out of the plan. I've created these steps for me because they seem logical. They seem logical to me, but again, everyone is different. And if this makes sense to you, then use it. If it doesn't, then create your own planning method. The point is to plan. Put your plans out into the universe and hopefully watch them unfold. Let's be honest here. I don't have everything figured out. Nobody does. But planning is one of the small things that I've done, albeit not perfectly, to help me move towards my goals, because we all have them. We all have goals. This video is as much for me as it is for anyone else attempting a path of growth, whatever the goal is. Ultimately, we get out what we put in, and doing a little bit of planning can help us set the stage for our performance. Guys, if you found this video helpful, give it a like. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm doing my best to create the plans needed to help this channel grow. If you're interested in topics like this, including business ownership, entrepreneurship, and growth, subscribe here and we can grow together. As always, take care and I'll see you guys on the next one.